I think I was one of the only, actually. I might have been the only one analyst who actually thought that this was like a cool pickup from Cloud9, all things considered. I actually liked it. And they brought him into the team when he had only that one facet to his game, that very scrimmy style, that very aggressive, come at you when it's like the worst decision possible. And he spent a lot of time improving upon that. He's developed so much of his game, and that's why I've been high on him throughout this year as he's risen up, is that, you know, you can see the effect of his works. It's very rare we have a player in North America who's able to compete at the level that Stewie's at, coming from nothing. He's probably worked harder than most of the pros that we've had on the professional scene for 2-3 years now.
I grew up in San Francisco, California, and some of the things I liked to do there was mainly play basketball, but that was pretty much it.
Did you live like in the city or outside the city?
I lived in the city, like 10 minutes away from downtown. Living down here in LA though, it's definitely better. The weather's better. Feels like the atmosphere is better too.
Got that sun, baby.
Growing up, I always lived with my aunt because my parents would work out of the country. But eventually my aunt got cancer, but she's okay now. So my parents hired one of their friends to be my quote unquote guardian, just to watch over me as I finished up school. And then that was pretty much it. And my mom would come back monthly and my dad would come back during the big holidays. I'd say I was probably closest with my aunt just because she was always there, and my brother and my sister are big age gaps, so they're always too old for this, or
oh, okay.
Yeah, too old to do this, and they're too old to play this now. So my brother is like 7 years older than me, and he went to UC San Diego, and my sister is 5 years older than me, and she went to San Jose State. So whenever they went to college, I was home alone, and I always like went out with my friends rather than just staying home. My brother used to play all kinds of consoles like PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and he used to play 1.6, but that's when I never got into it. I always watched him play, but he would never let me play because I'm too young, and he wouldn't let me watch because he says I'm too young.
So young Stu, how was, what could you describe, like, what was young Stu from, you think, your family or friends' perspective growing up?
Probably a big basketball player. Usually, I'm not really a big school kind of guy. I never really liked school, but I'd say the thing that kept me in high school was probably basketball, because I always loved playing basketball, and I never really wanted to like miss practice or a game. But then eventually, when I got into gaming, basketball like eventually faded away. So they'd probably say I'm a gamer because I'd always be on the computer, but just surfing the web. I played so much video games that eventually I had to transfer high schools because they never gave me an option. But that's because, like I said, I never like put school first, but everyone's always saying like, yeah, put school first. But I always saw like potential in something in gaming, so I just always put gaming first. Before then, I didn't really play on the computer. I played on the Xbox, and we always play like Modern Warfare 2 together, and COD and all that stuff. I don't know, we always had like a group of like 5. That was like our group, but we all had something in common. We always played basketball. We always played on like the same club team, and we would like travel together. We'd be like really good friends. But then eventually when we went to high school, we all went to different high schools, and we all just like took our separate ways.
Bummer.
But every now and then we still like talk to each other.
Maybe on holiday break you'll get to go say hi to him.
When I started playing CSGO, I thought it was like a really cool game, and I thought like it was a pretty fun game to learn. So when I watched like streamers, like I used to watch Mike play a lot, and I would see him do certain aim, like a certain way to aim, then I would try to mimic it. I would try to like steal people's play style and just like add it to my own. And then eventually I thought I was good enough, so I just continued playing. And one of my friends said that you should buy ESEA, so I just bought ESEA, and that's where it all started. I came up with the handle by playing with a bunch of friends in matchmaking, and that's where we all kind of messed around together, and they all picked family guy names, and the only ones left were Meg or Stewie, so I just picked Stewie.
You could have been Meg2k, is that what you're telling me?
And then one day I was matchmaking, and I saw another Stewie on the team with the same exact name, so I thought about what I could put at the end to kind of indicate myself from the others, and I was about to put 1G, like Summit. But
oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything, but I used to play like NBA 2K11 or something, so I just put 2K at the end.
How did gaming impact your family and friend relationships? Because obviously there's a lot of positives, you're a successful gamer, but there's sacrifices that come with that. So how did that affect you?
At one point, I reached like the very, very bottom of the respect level from my family because sophomore year is like when it all began, and I knew I saw potential in gaming, so I continued to just keep playing. And when I got in those 10-mans, I knew that when I became like a first pick for 10-mans, that's when I saw like more potential. So I put gaming in front of everything, and that was like my priority. And eventually I would skip a lot of school because I stay up too late, and it's like too hard for me to wake up. So I would say I'm sick and my parents aren't home and my guardian can't do anything. So I just say I'm sick, and I would miss like
Smart
weeks of
young
school.
Stu.
I would miss like weeks of school, and then eventually my school would contact my mom, and my mom would fly back and make sure I'm starting to go to school, but I'll still go to school. But my grades aren't good, I'm not doing homework, my test scores aren't that good. And junior year, the dean said that I have to come to school consistently or I'm gonna have to transfer schools. And I just said, I'm gonna transfer schools. I'm gonna have to go to independent school in order for me to graduate. And I told my mom, like, this is actually what I've been wanting, but I knew you wouldn't understand, so it kind of was just like, had to come this way. And then at that point, my dad and my mom kind of like, you can tell like they're giving me the cold shoulder, and they're like not really listening to what I say. They're letting me do what I want, but they're not happy about it, but they're like not paying full attention to me. And then eventually like my relatives, I guess my mom like told my relatives or something, my relatives would just be like, the only thing they would talk to me about was gaming. I'm just like, you know, I had like basketball in the past, you know, we had like relationships in the past, so why would you just talk about gaming, you know? So that's when I knew like they dropped everything and only thought I knew how to like play games. So
Most of your family, not just your parents.
yeah, and then eventually I got in Cloud9, and then I told Sana that I wanted to wait till I was 18 so I could sign my own contract because I know my mom's not gonna sign it. And then when I turned 18, I signed my own contract and I just moved.
He wanted to wait till he was 18 to be able to do this on his own. And one of the things I had to consider is like I had these other players I was talking to, and I needed to basically have faith in him that he wouldn't sign with another team when he turned 18, which is a few weeks away. And I needed to basically commit to him, turn down the other players I was talking to, and wait for him to turn 18. And on his 18th birthday, like sometime after midnight, he signed his contract with Cloud9. But that was the first like mutual trust that he turned down other offers that he had to come to Cloud9, and I had to turn down other players to have him come to Cloud9. That was our first like show and sign of trust, good faith, and that was just interesting, waiting for his 18th birthday.
So once you were owning in the pugs, you started getting more recognition in the pickup games. You first kind of entered into the pro scene with SKDC, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your semi-pro experience and like kind of getting, because obviously you had the skill, but then you realized there's another side of it. So kind of walk us through.
Yeah. Well, I got on the team from Ocean, obviously, but I stood in for them because one of their players left, and I knew that afterwards they'll kind of like review my tryout, and I knew that Ocean didn't want me because he started scrimming with a bunch of Canadians. He wanted to make a Canadian team, but when that didn't work out, I was his last resort. So he picked me up, and I had to play like a couple of seasons with him, or one season with him, I guess, in Premier, not in professional. And then it was kind of rough because people looked at our team as like, we don't need to practice against them. They're easy to beat. They're really dumb, I guess, but it's okay because it's kind of like a start for me, and that's where like everything, it was like a new road for me. That's where it all like began.
Stewie's strengths as a player for sure are adapting whenever necessary, making sure that whatever his next play is like going to be at least always going to have some kind of positive output onto it.
After SKDC, that's when I got in Splice, and that's where I played with PTR, Ruru, Akis, and Slemmy. And then eventually I heard that Sean was leaving, and I was really excited because
You remember messaging me? How long was that before this?
that was way before. That was before I was even on SKDC. That was before you guys picked up Ryan.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
that's when I just waited, and I knew that there's a slight chance. I guess playing on my own in a professional league kind of taught me how to play a little more, I guess, team orientated, and kind of like not play a spot where your teammate can't help you.
Yeah, get out the individualism of the game. All right, so then after SKDC and after Splice and after a bit of waiting and just, you know, playing the Raincasters and pissing everyone off in the YouTube videos. Yeah. And I said, like months before that, he made a joke to me on ESEA about joining our team, and I didn't really know Stu yet well, which is so ironic with how everything's turned around with him joining our team. Even when we were looking to recruit you, the big variable there was how a team was going to play around you, because obviously you're really good at exploiting individuals, and obviously everyone talks about you running through smokes and stuff, but that puts kind of like this selfish implication on your play style. So when we were recruiting you, we were concerned about that, but then after we picked you up, we realized a lot was different. So when you first joined our team, I remember you were kind of watching and learning a lot. Now you're calling strats. So when you first joined our team, tell us a little bit about your mindset going into the pro scene and what your goal was with joining Cloud9.
Well, I always wanted a chance. Even when you guys picked up Ryan, I honestly thought that I should have gotten that chance, but no one knew who I was, but I always thought that I could bring more to the table than any other pickup. But when I got the chance, I knew that it's something that I can't mess up, but I knew I wouldn't mess it up. I knew that if I did get the good amount of time where I can just settle and kind of like play how I wanted to play, then I can stay on the team and be impactful. So when I first joined the team, it was more of kind of observing and just see how you guys want me to play and what I should do around you guys. And when I first joined, there wasn't really much directions for me, so it was kind of hard to like mesh with the team. But I guess playing at the game show LAN in Lithuania kind of just sparked everything for me, and that's where it all happened.
Taking a step back really quick, who did you know on the team before you joined? Because I hadn't talked to you much, so who did you first talk to? I'm trying to even remember. Was it Trace?
When I got the offer?
When we got the offer.
Yeah, from Trace. He messaged me on Steam saying that, I messaged him on Steam saying that I wanted a tryout because you guys were having open tryouts, and he's like, okay, I'll get back to you. And then he never got back to me ever. So I was like, I guess they found someone else. And then one day I was practicing, and then I got a call from Trace, and then I picked up the phone, and then he said that he's gonna give me a 3-month contract, but really it was like a full contract that one of you guys had. But I guess it was more of benching me, I guess, if I didn't do well. And then
light a fire under your butt.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's where it all happened. I didn't even get a tryout, and I just got a spot on the team.
Just from the insider perspective, that was our way of just testing you, right? Because we knew about your skill. We wanted to see like if you would be someone who would just like combust because of the pressure if you'd go up. And I think you're calling strats for us. We just won a big tournament. You're handling the pressure well, so I think part of that worked. So when you joined Cloud9, obviously you told us your family didn't know a lot about it, and not only them, but the community didn't know a lot about you. So the first perception, like I said, was that you're some pugger who doesn't have a good mindset for pro, and NA just picked up another flashy player who's going to waste their time. Everyone's critical on NA. So how'd you feel about like the community's like the connotation they're placing on you being this kind of player?
I wouldn't say it got to me. I would say it would be in the back of my head, but I mean, it's the internet. Everyone's going to be speaking their mind, but with extra aggressiveness, I guess. So I don't take that too seriously, because after all this time, with all these fan interactions and stuff, no one's ever like disrespected me in person. So I know that it's always behind the monitor. It's always going to be on the internet. So that stuff like never really bothered me. I wouldn't say it motivated me either. It was just like, it was more so of it being there. But I just let those people critique me, and it doesn't really mean anything to me. The only things that actually mean stuff would be people who tweet at me and say like, good game today, or you guys did well today. But people saying that I couldn't do it, or I'm just a pugger and I'm gonna get kicked off Cloud9. Like, it didn't bother me. It was just there. And now that people are saying that, oh, he's potentially the best player in the NA, he's like really good. Sorry, he's really good.
Yeah.
But that's like, it's not really, it doesn't get to me either. It's just there.
Well, yeah, you notice the community kind of ebbs and flows with how the team's performance is. So
Yeah.
when you first started meeting the people who were being nice to you, what was that like, meeting fans?
It was pretty cool. The first fan interaction I had was at Origin LAN. That's the LAN I snuck out to. So that was pretty cool when people asked me to sign their gear. I never thought that people would actually like ask people to sign mouse pads or stuff.
That's right. That's where we were at. It was IBA Power RGN double.
Yeah.
Stu didn't get permission to go down to Southern California. And who bought you a flight? Like, was it Steele's team or something?
Yeah, but Splice
Or Splice
reimbursed it.
Yeah, reimbursed it, and he played with like Steele. Who else was your lineup?
Steele, Mo, Kiko, I think, and 2G.
What a lineup.
Well, I'd say that when we picked up Slemmy, I guess, that's when it was more comfortable for me because I got more say on the team, and that's when I got to do what I wanted to do and just be a little more comfortable, and kind of it allowed me to perform at a better and more consistent level.
Yeah. Yeah, you were no longer the newcomer on the team. And
Yeah.
after you had joined the team, you replaced Sean. I was strat calling, and obviously that wasn't something I really enjoyed. Felt like it was spreading me thin as a player. And then you were trying to help out a little, but then we said, okay, Jordan doesn't want to call, what are we going to do? So then roster changes, we've made, I guess, just 2 since you've joined, right? We picked up
Yeah.
Slemmy for Ryan and then Tim. So firstly, we'll talk about Slemmy. You know, how did you feel about that roster change? Because you had played with him in the past, but we didn't know who we wanted to pick up, and we needed someone last second. So
At the time when Ryan left, it was kind of like midway through the season, so it's kind of hard to find new players because everyone's contracted and no one wants to leave their team mid-season. So you didn't want to call, I didn't want to call, nobody wanted to call, so that's when we just like looked at the in-game leaders, and that's when Eric was still on Liquid, I think, but
yeah, he wasn't interested.
Yeah, he didn't want to join, and no one really wanted to join.
We were trying to get, was it Tim? We were trying to get Tim plus Eric to coach. I don't even remember what we were trying to do.
I don't remember. I think it was.
But it's tough.
And then that's when we looked into Slemmy, and that's when we picked him up and just kind of gave us some time to reevaluate our team, I guess.
What do you think we learned from Slemmy's time on the team?
Well, I guess it gave us more of a structured team play, I guess. So it kind of gave us 2 styles rather than just fast and puggy. It kind of gave us like a little more slow and more structured executions.
But then moving on to picking up Tim, how do you feel that changed our dynamic?
I knew that if we just picked up a 5th player who played well and had potential and could be a star player also, then that's when I knew that if I called, then it would be a lot easier. So that's when I just started calling, and picking up Tim was good because he knew how to play the game well. He could do like, he's more dynamic, I guess.
I feel like he didn't really realize until joining this team, until he was forced into like an IGL role in a sense, that he's really good at it. And I just don't think that would have happened on any other team that might have, you know, no other team would have pushed him to do that. So I feel like he's a really good IGL, and he's only going to keep getting better. You know, he's young, he's always going to be learning. He's always playing the game, always finding out new things. So those are definitely his strengths, you know, just playing the game, always with the meta.
Well, in game we have a lot of mixed personalities, I guess. We have Mike and you 2 are like really chill in game, and when something dumb happens, you guys kind of just laugh it off. But I say with me, Tim, and Tyler, we're different than you guys. When something dumb happens to us, we get frustrated and it gets to us kind of. But overall, I think we have like a really good mindset. Everyone wants to win.
Stu really wants to win, and he'll do anything until he wins. And that's probably the main thing that I admire about him.
Sometimes it gets too overflowing, I guess, when we play too many matches and our mental state of mind kind of gets too weak, I guess. Yeah, I feel like on lands that if you aren't 100% focused on it, and if you have something on the side that's kind of distracting you, then that's when you're not gonna win. Because in Brazil, I felt like that's when all 5 of us, we made it to the finals, and that's when we all realized that this is our chance, this is our shot where we can actually take it all.
All 5 of our heads were in it.
That's when everyone wasn't distracted, that's when everyone focused and they just wanted to play, and we were all pretty, I don't know, we were all pretty focused, and I don't know, I think the environment was pretty good too. I don't know, so in basketball, I always came from a coach who was really strict and really critical about every little thing. So I guess as an in-game leader, when it's kind of hard to explain things on the fly, so when I do explain things on the fly and it's not done specifically how I wanted it, then it gets pretty frustrating, and that's when the round's gonna lose, I guess. So I'd say that I'm a pretty emotional player sometimes, but yeah.
You live and die by the team, you know?
Yeah.
As much as we argue in the game, when we win, we were still hugging it out.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. You know, me and Stu sometimes want to fight each other, but then we go get some food after and talk it out. Hug it out. When you were coming up in the scene, there's obviously players you looked up to. So who did you look up to in terms of their skill, and who did you maybe watch as a streamer?
I always watched Mike because I thought back then I didn't know how to spray, and I just watched Mike and I was always wondering how does he spray like that, you know? But eventually it kind of like just came to me. I was like, oh, it's so easy to spray. Like once you know how to spray, how can you not know how to spray, you know? Yeah, and then I watched Tarek a lot too because he pugged a lot, and that's how like all the pugging style came to me. So that's mainly from Tarek. But right now, I say I still look up to Brax because that guy's insane.
Braxton Swag Pierce. Can we get an unban, please, Val? Can we take a look back at that? Thinking about all the success you've had now, and looking back at your past, is there anything you would have done differently?
Not really. I knew my parents would never understand, so I kind of forced their way to understand, because now that obviously I'm more successful, I'm on TV, I'm on the internet, and you can look me up and stuff, they eventually found out. I never really planned on telling them that I was this successful, but the first season of E-League, when we got on TBS, that's when I only told my brother, and I said that I'm gonna be on TV for Counter-Strike, and I know you used to play Counter-Strike, so it's pretty cool that I'm gonna be on TV now, so you should check it out. And eventually he told my mom, and my mom like kept bragging about it to my relatives, and eventually my relatives found out, and I'll be getting like messages from them saying it's pretty cool, when are you gonna come back so we can talk about stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool, but I don't know, I never was gonna explain it to my parents, but I guess now that they're more understanding and know that it's like a future for me, so I guess it's kind of that time to just sit down and talk about it again, I guess.
Well, it seems like your parents actually just wanted you to be successful and wanted the best for you. Yeah. So in a weird way, if you would have known this yourself, you might have been able to explain, hey, there's a good chance I could turn this into a career, but you didn't know to explain that. So I guess that'd be the only thing you could have done differently, but at least it's cool to know they were looking out for you, and now they're excited about it, and now they're happy, so that's cool.
I'd say one of the best moments I've had was obviously winning Pro League, but I'd say DreamHack Austin was probably a really good one, because that's the first time I've ever played in front of a crowd, and it's on NA soil, so that was pretty good, and the crowd was all filled, and there was some diehard Cloud9 fans, so that was really cool to witness.
You went from watching us play on Twitch a couple years ago to holding a trophy with us on stage, standing next to us as our teammate.
It's kind of crazy, because when I used to watch you guys play, like Shroud always streamed, so I was watching him play, and I never thought I'd be his teammate. And I've seen you stream a couple times, and I've seen some rare Skadoodle streams, and I don't know. I knew Tim also from RGN, and I met him in Pugs before, and that's how I got to know him. And I used to always ask him, like, how do I get in the pro scene, because I knew that I could get there, but he told me to just kind of grind it out. So knowing all you guys, I never thought that I'd be on the team with you guys, so it was pretty cool that from watching you guys, I went to playing with you guys, and then playing in a stage in front of 8,000 people and just holding up a trophy.
Hell yeah. Champs, baby.